right, this young fella you're about to meet has done a lot. He's only 18 years old, and Stephen was diagnosed with leukemia and missed his entire junior year at Dobson High School. He was not allowed to walk with his class at graduation because he was just 2.5 credits short of his requirements. Despite his setback, Stephen led his class onto the field as student body president in plain clothes, but then had to sit in the stands and watch his classmates watch, not even allowed on the field. Well, despite his setback, once again, Stephen will graduate this December and will go on to be a very successful member of our society and maybe even hold an office someday at the school district to help change the rules for future generations to come. Please welcome Student Body President Stephen Dwyer, everybody.
Thank you for having me here and letting me share my story. As Paul said, my name is Stephen. I'm 18 years old. The way I like to start my story is in May of 2014, I turned 16 years old. I was swimming 15 hours a week. I was ready for the best summer of my life. I just got my license. I was ready to actually be able to drive and hang out with my friends. But something stopped me. I was, again, swimming 15 hours a week, and I just wasn't feeling like myself. There was a practice specifically where I had the chills, and it was 100 degrees outside. We're swimming, and I had the chills. And I'm like, Coach, I don't feel good. Can I go to the showers, warm up? I'm cold. Went to the showers. I still had the chills. I went home. I'm like, Mom, something's wrong. So we went to the doctor. The doctor's like, oh, you're probably not eating enough, probably not sleeping enough. I'm like, okay. But luckily, she's like, let's get blood work, though, anyway. We get a call a day later, a call that changed my life and my family's life. The doctor's like, bring Stephen to the Phoenix Children's. We think he has leukemia. So on June 15th of 2014, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I was given a 90% survival rate originally, which was a great number. My family and I were like, all right, we're going to get this done. We're going to survive, get past this. But 2 weeks later, I received news that I was hypodiploid in the leukemia cells, meaning I was missing 12 pairs of chromosomes in the leukemia cells, lowering my survival rate to 30% unless I received a bone marrow transplant. So we took that bad news, went through 5 months of chemo, and in October of 2014, I received my bone marrow transplant. The week before the bone marrow transplant was probably the hardest week of my life. I don't really remember it, thankfully, but I received what's called conditioning, 4 days of chemo and 3 days of radiation, total body radiation, that basically just destroyed my whole entire bone marrow to make room for the donor cells. The side effects I received from this, again, were probably the hardest. It made for the hardest 6 weeks of my life in the hospital. I didn't eat for close to 3 weeks. I didn't speak for close to a week because of how bad the mucositis was in my mouth. And I was in isolation for close to 8 months. I was at home. The only time I really left the hospital was to go to the clinic 2 or 3 times a week. When my friends would come over, they were only really allowed to come over one at a time. I had to kind of watch, all my friends go through high school through a phone, on Twitter, and all social media. And so it was really hard for me. I wasn't able to swim for a year and a half, and I was on a medicine called prednisone for 4 months that led me to not look like myself, not feel like myself. If you want, I can show you a picture if you want to come up to me afterwards. I look like I weighed like 300 pounds in my face because of the water retention. But these medicines and these treatments, they just kind of destroy your body and destroyed my muscle mass. And again, I was in the best shape of my life before I was sick. So when I lost my complete muscle mass, it was one of the hardest things for me. And so when you have strangers come in and out of your hospital room and you have to take your shirt off to get accessed, I know it really, because he says, makes you lose your dignity. So it's really difficult when you have female nurses coming in and out of your room and you have to take your shirt off and you're not what you're used to look like or used to looking like. So this is what this group does, is help kids like me, and kids younger especially, help maintain their dignity. In August of 2015, I was able to return to school about 3 months earlier than doctors had anticipated, luckily. I was able to start swimming again in September of 2015, and I've been back in the water for over a year now, so I'm happy for that. Thank you. I was actually able to swim in a meet this morning, so I'm very blessed with swimming as well. But another thing that Comfy Cozies has really helped me with, since I've been in remission and since I've been back at school, is it's helped me kind of find my passion. Lorraine especially has helped me And I want to thank her so much for that because I really appreciate it. And she's helped me find my passion in not only giving hope for others, but just patient advocacy for so many kids, because that's really what Comfy Cozies does. For me, the Teen Taco Night has been so important because for the teens, even though Phoenix Children's Hospital is incredible, it's hard being a teen there sometimes because doesn't feel like there's as big a community for you. So the Teen Taco Night has been so important to connect with survivors and to current patients as well. And all the things that they do for all the different groups. Lorraine and Comfy Cozies are so good at just kind of finding what that kid needs to get through each day. Because it really is, when you're going through cancer, it is kind of a day-to-day process. You're not worried about next week or next month. It's kind of like, what can we do to get through this day in the hospital? And that's what Comfy Cozies does, is they help kids get through that day and get to the next one. One of the most important things and that I love that Comfy Cozies does is the transforming the transplant rooms, because it really has to become your home when you're not allowed to leave your room for transplant for, like I did, for 6 weeks. So to have your room transformed into all the things that you love, it makes it feel like home, and again, just makes that treatment so much easier. I just want to say thanks again to all of you for being here, and thanks to Lorraine and Comfy Cozies for having me speak. Thank you, guys.